Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Not great. You know, you can't win them all. The Oilers can't win them all. They lost 5-3 to the Flyers tonight. They were due for a loss. You know, they were 5-0 to start the year. They could have easily been 3-2. You know, would have been just as fair in terms of the flow of play in those games. So I'm not going to complain about a 5-1 record. Nonetheless, it was like all losses. It was hard to take if you're a fan of the team. And there were some notable screw ups in the game, which we're going to get to in our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers podcast. Bruce, what was your good thing?
Yeah, well, my good thing actually was I thought the hockey game was good. I love the pace of that game. They were just the first period, especially, absolutely flying end to end, and the puck was just singing up the ice, singing down the ice. The Oilers would take their chance at the net, and Philly would get it, and they just tossed it out into the neutral zone and flood the zone with numbers, and often they would come out with the puck and with an odd man, or with certainly an excellent zone entry with speed that led to something. And they were able to convert plays like that into a couple goals. And ultimately, that was, those were key difference makers in what was essentially a one-goal game. But I just love the high intensity level of this hockey game, and I thought it was a good game. Philly's got a good team, and Edmonton's got to be on top of their game to beat them. And tonight they couldn't stay on top of their game quite long enough to get it done.
Yeah, I guess that when people looked at the Oilers team this year and had fears about the team, it was this kind of game where, they'd score enough to win 3 goals, but they'd get outscored because of goaltending and defense. And we saw that to a certain extent. Well, that's what we saw tonight was not great. But it was a very fast game, especially that first period. 7-6 grade A scoring chances, grade A scoring shots, I should say, in the first period, with the Flyers having the edge in grade A shots. Mm-hmm. And including that one right at the buzzer.
Killer goal. Oilers fought back from 2-0 all period. They tie it with 18 seconds left. You think they're going to the room, and it's a nothing play with like 4 seconds on the clock, and they dump it in. And Nurse bats it out of the air, and he bats it out of the air a second time. Somehow Cam Atkinson was able to knock it down, kick it up with his skate, and let fly with a shot that fooled Mikko Koskinen from the slot. I'm not sure if Koskinen had much to do with that. Nurse,
no.
I guess if he had known in the slot, the time, if he was able to look up the clock, he would have just let the puck go by him. But the instinct was to try and play the puck, and was just 7/10 of a second or something. And they fought back from that early in the second to tie the score at 3, and then the game settled in from there. And I thought Edmonton's big guns, probably in the last 5 to 10 minutes, it didn't seem to have a huge amount of gas in the tank, and that's because all of them were up in the 25, 26, 27-minute range. And Philly's guys, they seem to be a little bit fresher down the stretch. At least that was my view, and they were able to clog it up. Once they got the last lead, they were able to clog it up and finish the job.
I think the Oilers were kind of Draisaitl was just fantastic this game, driving the play. He just won endless battles, but he looked spent by the end of the game. Yep. And he did play 26-16, a team high for the Oilers. Mm-hmm. And he was done. Even on the end of that power play, you could see he was getting super tired, and he didn't have a lot left in the last 5 minutes of the game at all after playing an utterly fantastic game. He was a good thing. But my good thing tonight, I've been picking on, I'll speak for myself here, Tyson Barrie, for some weak defensive play early in the year. It might have been a case of him trying too hard, just not in sync yet in the early season. Anyway, he had some good games last year, and he had a really good game tonight. He was smart with the puck, excellent with the puck. Couple plays stand out. Once he picked off the puck in the neutral zone and made a beautiful backhand pass across the ice. I think it was a backhand pass across the ice to set in a grade A scoring chance. Puljujarvi and Hyman combined, and then they put it over to McDavid, who streaked in. But that was all started by Barrie's great little play where he made a pass. And of course, he scored a really nice goal.
Did he ever?
Great backhand goal where after an even better backhand pass, that was the Draisaitl pass, right? To him in the slot. So he looked
Great
really good, and he
patience by
was
Barrie there, though, to hold the puck as long as he did and let fly such a good shot from a low angle.
Defensively he was sound. Maybe he wasn't playing tough competition. He's playing on the third pairing now with Cuckoo. Even the third pairing gets tough competition now and then. They're out there against good players, especially on a pretty good Flyers team. So, but he just seemed more settled. He was not getting beat left, right, and center. We did tag him on one mistake on a grade A chance against where he pinched in.
Right.
McDavid failed. Really, that was McDavid failing to. McDavid was covering for him, but he failed to play.
They both kind of got. Barrie. McDavid was covering for Barrie, but Barrie lost the battle on the sideboards. Was why I tagged him, and I thought it was marginal. He could have gone either way with it, but he lost the battle, and McDavid made a bad pinch behind him before he knew it was a 2-on-1.
Yeah,
for Philly. Yeah. It was not like a horrid, glaring mistake by Barrie. Let's put it that way.
So a better game, and they needed that him to settle down and start playing a bit better. He did, I think, went through stretches last year where he was really bad. I think he's prone to defensive slumps, but then he can have stretches where he's pretty settled and okay defensively. I'm not sure why that is, like what it is about his approach to the game where that happens. He might, but that's going to happen with Tyson Barrie. But this was one of his good games. So way to go, Tyson.
He looked like super confident with the puck tonight, more so than I've seen to this point in the season, and trying things and jumping into the play and making things happen and sort of doing the good things that he does. And lo and behold, he did fewer of the bad things that he also does in the same game. And it's kind of like his game. I mean, even when he's on top of his game, there's always going to be some chaos because he creates it, but he creates something both ends of the ice. But that player I can take all season long. He was fine.
And all that said, at the end of the game, when the Oilers needed a goal, I would have rather had Bouchard on the ice than Tyson Barrie. Every time Bouchard goes to shoot, Bruce, I get excited. He shoots that puck with such velocity. I mean, we haven't had a shooter on the blue line like that since Sheldon Surrey. And he's not like Surrey had the huge kind of wind up. It was much more dramatic in some ways, but Bouchard just unleashes it. So I like Tyson Barrie, but I think when you really need a goal, I would have preferred to see Bouchard in that moment on the ice.
Yeah, Bouchard, he made one shot from the slot. I can't remember who was the guy that he dangled on Philly, but it was a pretty good player. Yeah. And he just pulled the puck through his skates pretty as he pleased and out the other side. And unfortunately, one of the Flyer defenders in tighter than net also made a great play to dive and block the shot
that's right.
Bouchard let fly. But after he dangled the guy, just so calm and in control, it seems like Bouchard when he's got the puck, or even when he doesn't. He's starting to look more and more like at home with himself and with the pace of the game out there.
Yeah.
So
Bouchard, Nurse and Barrie all had 4 shots on net each. So, Go ahead, Bruce. What's your bad thing?
Oh, I got to say Mikko Koskinen. And, I like Mikko, and I thought he played 2 good games on the road, and I thought he made quite a few good saves in this game tonight. But he was 3 goals, man, 3 goals. The first one, the wraparound where puck bounced off the end boards and he committed to the near side post, and he was just dead and buried when the dude popped around the other side and tucked it home. Ceci came over and almost kept it out. Giroux, was it? And he just out-quicked Koskinen at the side of the net, and Koskinen overcommitted to the short side post. And we called that a missed assignment. I wasn't quite sure what you say. He was not where he needed to be at the end of the play, that's for sure. And then the second goal, he just misplayed the puck on the shoot in. And then he had to scramble back into the net, and he just, unfortunately, the bounce didn't go his way in tight to the net. And the Flyer tucked it out in front, was able to tuck it in. The hyphenated dude there. I haven't got the sheets tonight. My printer's not working, so I'm going by memory. 62 White got that one. And then, worst of all, 3-3 tie in the third period. Yeah, that's the guy. 3-3 tie in the third period, where the next goal is going to be massive. And Philly comes in. It is a 3-on-2, and they do a quick give and go, but the guy who shoots the puck is at the top of the circle near the boards. So not only is he outside of home plate, he is high and wide of home plate, to use baseball terminology. It's not close to home plate at all. Like he's a foot high and a foot wide of the plate, and yet somehow he managed to drive it right through Koskinen's legs and in. Just a killer goal again. I mean, the second one was, the 3-2 goal was a crusher when it happened with lots of time to recover. That one in the third period, though, you just got to make a save there. And I mean, Koskinen did make a great save later in the third after a bad McDavid turnover, and that guy walked right in on him and he stoned him in close. But I'll say he did make some good saves in this game. But 3 bad goals and a 1-goal loss, that's goaltending. And if you compare Koskinen to Carter Hart at the other end, Sherwood Park native Carter Hart, who I thought was outstanding in this game. Maybe a little weak on 1 goal, but a number of big-time saves, and he stood in there and he fought through a lot of stuff, especially in the second period, which Edmonton flat out dominated. And Hart made a couple big saves in there, and he was the better goalie. And I don't know, is it 8 or 9 nights out of 10 that you can say the team with the better goalie is the team that walked away with the win?
Yeah, I'd say 3 out of 4, right?
Yeah,
3 out of 4, maybe even 4 out of 5. So on that first goal, that was a really tough play because the puck took a super heavy bounce off the boards. It comes right out into a dangerous scoring place, and he's got to get over there fast and hug up against the post to make the play. So that was a really tough moment. And then lightning fast, it's right on Giroux's stick off the boards, and he just takes it like bam, it's in the net. So we were going back and forth. Was that a mistake by Koskinen? And maybe we have it wrong. In the end, we thought, well, it probably is, and we said it was. But it was it was a very tough play for a goalie because you had to get up against the post, I think, on the one side, and he didn't make it. It's then the next one, the turnover. I like actually how Koskinen's handling the puck and that he's more active with the puck this year. And I think the Oilers should continue to, I think they're probably encouraging him. And they're part of that is accepting that he's going to have an odd stinker. Now he can't have too many. And that was certainly one of them. But he's much more aggressive handling the puck. And it's an improvement in his game. He is getting better at that. Probably picking it up, learning from Smith. You can't watch Smith play every game and think, well, why don't I do that now? And they're like, why do I have to be such a stumble bum with the puck and never make a play? So he screwed up, Bruce. But I like that he's being aggressive with the puck. I think he should continue to do that. But the third goal, or the winning goal, the fourth goal, that was, like you say, it was a crucial moment of the game. That was not Grant Fuhr. Someone else on that. All right. My bad thing. The fourth line, Bruce. Devon Shore was on the ice for 3 minutes and 20 seconds at even strength. And in that time, the Oilers got outshot 0-4-7 against. The whole line was just rancid. I mean, on the first goal, that hard shot off the boards, it comes because Kyle Turris is giving his player a mile of time and space in the defensive slot. Wish I'd never seen that play again where Kyle Turris, I mean, I'm glad he's on the wing. But he just, it went right through him. He didn't cover the guy in the slot. Hard shot off the boards, and then a second later, the puck's in the net. On two grade A shots, Devin Shore made not one but two mistakes. First, like he would make a mistake in the offensive end, and then he would be slow recovering from it. He just had a he just had a really
He,
terrible game.
he had
He
a
had a terrible
dreadful
game.
game.
Yeah,
For
that's the kind of game that,
4 minutes and 48 seconds, it's hard to do that much wrong in less than 5 minutes.
and
But
Perlini,
he got destroyed. 0-3 in the face-off circle, no shots, no hits, one. Uh, yeah, uh, yeah, that's it. Just and they were chasing, and yeah, they were not effective at all.
Perlini, a couple major mistakes on grade A shots
Mm-hmm.
against, allowing passes into the slot, losing a battle on the ozone, and then slowing the back check on another one. Like this can't happen with the fourth line. You need your fourth line to be solid defensively. That's the number one job, and they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
This fourth line was not. It should be. I could see Shores played well up until now. That was his first bad game, but Perlini and Turris have been trending down. And I would suggest that, go back to Benson. I don't know why Benson and Sevier came out of the game. They played well against Vegas. I thought they had earned another game, and they should have had this game. So, yeah, I didn't like the coach's
I think
decision.
Tippett's reasoning there is that he probably thought that the previous fourth line had earned the Vegas game, but his idea was to share the wealth and to give all the players on the team a shot on the road trip. So it wasn't even so much that the Shore, Perlini, tourist version of the line lost the job, is that he just shared the time on the road trip, and then he went back to Plan A for this game. He'll be thinking long and hard about going back to Plan B for next game, though, because Plan A flat out failed. They
I
had a
hope so.
real tough night, and it was a big part of the difference. They only played 3 or 4 minutes, but they lost, I think, 1-0 their part of the game in a
Yeah.
one-goal game, and created. I mean, Brendan Perlini in the preseason, where he got all those goals, 6 goals in 6 games, and an assist that was a shot that was tipped in. And the one game he didn't score a goal, he had a shooting assist, and then all of that shooting has just basically gone away. And he's played 5 out of 6 games and just nothing, like no chances really, and no certainly no offense.
This is what I was worried about picking him for the team,
Yep.
and you mentioned that you thought he could forecheck. Well, forecheck then, Brendan Perlini.
Yeah,
I
no,
agree with you. I
no,
agree with you,
really.
Bruce, and I agreed with you. I think he can forecheck, but it's just not going on.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe mix it up. Maybe Perlini, Shore, and Benson, for instance, might work. I don't know who can play the right wing then, but I'm not seeing a lot. Well, I had seen Turris had a good game, and I mentioned it a few games back. So he's had a good game, but anyway, this wasn't one of them, and it cost the Oilers. Change it up, change it up. All right, Bruce, your number.
Yeah, my number is 22-30 and 42%. That's Edmonton's performance on the face-off dot tonight. And this has been an area of strength for Edmonton. But tonight they went up against, they were the top two face-off teams in the league going into tonight's game. And
Ooh,
Philadelphia showed why they are the top face-off team in the league by winning 30 out of 52 for 58%. And in particular, this absolutely key sequence with 2 minutes left in the third period. Just give me a second to bring it up. And this was with Edmonton's net empty and the face-offs in Philadelphia's zone. And I'm just going to read right off the event summary. Okay, puck and benches was the first stoppage. Face-off Philadelphia won defensive zone. Giroux versus Draisaitl. That was 1803. They iced the puck. 1822. Philadelphia won defensive zone. Giroux versus Draisaitl. They iced the puck again. They missed the net by like this much.
yeah.
1830. Face off. Philly won defensive zone. Giroux versus Draisaitl. And another icing. 1839. Philly won defensive zone. Giroux versus Draisaitl. The same matchup 4 out of 4 times. And I'm thinking, as great as Leon is in the circle, At a certain point, the coach has got to go with McDavid, who's 10-4 on the night and by far the best Oiler on the dot. He never got one of those draws. And the Oilers never had the puck. They were never able to control the damn puck in the Philly end in that crucial minute. And then finally, Philly got it to center and were able to pop it into the net after 2 or 3 close misses. They got one. But Edmonton was just not able to get the puck, and that really sprang off of their inability to win the faceoff.
And as I mentioned,
Leon, by that time, he was playing his 27th minute of the game.
Yeah, there you go.
There
you go. That he was gassed. Like, you could see it. He just was not, in the last 5 minutes of the game, he was not moving his feet, whereas he had been just flying earlier in the game. And he was just
he was a beast on the puck in the corners, along the walls. He was winning puck battles. He was distributing it. He had a real solid game, but he looked, I thought, just a little bit gassed. And let's face it, Claude Giroux is a tremendous player, and he had a really good game. And when push came to shove in those key D-zone draws, Giroux found a way to win them. And Edmonton wound up chasing the puck instead of moving it around and doing their magic with the puck.
My number, Bruce, is 2. And the 2 signifies the 2 absolutely fantastic passes from Evan Bouchard to send people in on, 5 alarm chances. And they both missed the net. So first he springs Nugent Hopkins for a breakaway. And the Nugent Hopkins shot was affected by the Flyers defenseman kind of hacking him with his stick a bit. And so, but he still missed the net.
He didn't separate. I thought he was behind the guy, and it was like he slowed down to make his shot instead of taking it hard in there, and that's why the guy was able to catch up with him a little bit. So to me, that's, a little bit on the player who didn't get the shot on net because he didn't separate to give himself room to shoot unmolested.
In the third period, Bouchard makes a splendid move at the point where he kind of goes between 2 players and puck protects, uses his body to protect the puck, finds it cross ice seam, just knifes that puck over there to Turris, and with an open net, Turris misses the net. Whoa.
Tough angle.
That was tough angle.
It's
but
a tough shot to make, but he needs to make
NHL,
it.
An NHL player with an open net. You have to make that shot. Well, it would sure be nice.
Especially if you didn't cover the slot earlier in the game. It would be
that
nice
would have made up
shot.
that would have made up for a lot, Bruce. So anyway, he missed it, but those were just wow.
Sweet plays. The Nuge play, he stood up, I think it was Konechny at the blue line, and then dispossessed him, and he came out with the puck, one look up, boom, Nuge gone on the breakaway on the counterattack. That's some of what Bouchard brings, is that awareness and ability to, when he sees the open guy, he can execute the good pass quickly.
So Nuge now has 6 games, 0 goals, and 9 assists. Bruce, 9 assists. And there's, who is that? We've been through this before. Who is that 70s player? There was this one 70s player who had a season. Just trying to look it up here. It's either Phil Goyette, Jude Duran, or someone like that who had like.
Phil Goyette he had some seasons like that. I mean, Adam Oates had seasons like that. Henrik Sedin had seasons like that.
Yeah.
10 assists for every goal kind of thing.
Yeah. So Nuge is having that kind of year, but he missed that shot. Maybe that's why he's having that kind of year. No, Nuge has been fantastic. I'm glad to see him playing so well. And Bruce, you really can't win them all. And the Oilers, I'll take the 5-1 record, and we'll go from there. The big question is go ahead. Sorry.
Here's Henrik Sedin's final NHL season, age 37, 82 games played, 3 goals, 47 assists, 50 points.
Well, that's
pretty extreme for a forward. You see D-men do that, but.
Yeah, Phil Goy. I'm at Jude Duran here. 63 games, 13 goals, 43 assists for 56 points. That's not as extreme as the example you had.
3 and 47. No,
I'm missing somebody. There was someone in the 70s who had like a 7-goal, 60 assist season. I'm just trying to think of that one. I'm not sure. It's not Phil Goyette either. I think it was someone on the Penguins. Maybe it was Sil Apps Jr. But let me just see. So who plays next, Bruce?
At Vancouver on Saturday night, and all the already I'm reading suggestions that Skinner needs to play after Koskinen had a subpar night tonight. I'm guessing, knowing Dave Tippett,
No.
that Koskinen will be playing in Vancouver on Saturday in Hockey Night in Canada. And then next week when they play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Skinner might get one of the middle games so that Koskinen isn't playing 4 and 7. Unless Smith is ready to come back, which changed the equation. But I have my doubts Smith is close, to tell the truth. He came out and he played briefly at practice and he went off right away. And I didn't hear from today. Maybe things are better, but I'm just a little queasy about, looks like a groin. That's my best guess.
Yeah, I've heard some mixed reports about what's going on with him, so we'll see. But I'm really worried too, Bruce. And I wrote like when he got hurt, I said, that my headline on the story was that thing that every Oiler fan fears. Well, it's happened. And I got some flack from that. People saying, well, he's just out for a week, and which is a fair comment, right?
Well, it would have been if he had only been out for a week.
But
yes.
Well, that's it. But listen, what we feared was he was going to have injury problems and go on injured reserve. That is exactly what happened at that time. And we also know, and the reason it's more significant is his age and the fact that he has played poorly in the past. When he played poorly the previous seasons, recent seasons, it's been because he's mainly been banged up. So this is a huge issue with him. And yeah, count me in as concerned. Although Koskinen's played strong hockey in 2 out of 3 games, and he had his strong moments tonight, but.
He did make some big saves. It's the goals are disappointing, and there are other ones that maybe should have gone in that he kept out. But
I hope they do go with Stuart Skinner. It's sooner than
Soon.
Don't keep playing Koskinen back to back and that kind of crazy stuff. Because I've liked Stuart Skinner's how he's looked in the last 8 months. Good in the AHL, good in preseason. Give him a game. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I mean, Bruce, they need to. Salary cap is an issue with the Oilers. They need cheap players. If Skinner can be a cheap backup goalie for Mike Smith next year, or with Mike Smith in a tandem, that's ideal. So he's got 3 full years in the minors. Give him a go here.
Yeah. Well, they got Vancouver. Vancouver Saturday, then they're home for 3. Monday against Seattle, Wednesday against Nashville, Friday against Rangers. And if Skinner's still around, I got him for the Seattle game on Monday, November 1st. And then they got another 3 days off before they hit the road, and they really start cramming the games in. Then they play 5 in 8 days. So hopefully Smith is back by then.
All righty.
So
hopefully.
Because one thing we've learned over the last 3 years is that Mikko Koskinen struggles under heavy workload.
Yeah.
He's fine when he's playing, sharing the duties, or as a backup playing, 1 game a week. But twice after they traded Cam Talbot in his first season, and then last year when Smith was out, that he had. Sort of every game duties, and he wilted under the load both times. So surely by now Tippett understands that and will use Skinner even, like against what he would like to do, which is go with his number 1, which is Koskinen. But he's got to recognize the long-term good. Sometimes you got to give that guy a night off, and say with 4 and 7 days, if it's still Koskinen Skinner will play at least one of those games. If he plays well, then he might get a second game.
Let's leave it there, Bruce. Thanks for talking tonight.
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.